The Galactic Council chamber was never silent. Normally, hundreds of alien voices filled the tall crystal hall with arguments, whispers, and political noise. But today, not a single voice spoke. Not even a breath could be heard. Every member of the council sat frozen in fear, staring at the giant hologram in the center of the room. The hologram showed a dying star system. Entire planets had been turned into floating metal dust. Sunlight dimmed behind clouds of black machines. Swarms of tiny metallic creatures moved like endless rivers, consuming everything in their path. This enemy had no name at first. Later, the survivors called it the same thing. The Iron Swarm. For months, the Council had tried to stop it. Their fleets failed. Their weapons failed. Even their strongest shields broke apart like glass. The swarm did not want land, money, or power. It only wanted to consume. To erase. To grow. Now the council was trapped with only one question left. Who can stop this? A tall insectoid leader, Chancellor Velen, finally broke the silence. His voice trembled. 3 more systems lost, he whispered. If we fail again, they will reach the core worlds. An aquatic alien banged the table with a trembling fin. We must surrender. Our weapons do nothing. We cannot fight creatures made of living metal. A reptilian general hissed loudly. There is one species left. One we have not called yet. Every alien turned their eyes toward him. Humans, the general said. The room erupted into chaos. No. They are unstable. They are unpredictable. They bring disaster wherever they go. If humans fight, the galaxy changes forever. Some were terrified of humans. Others secretly admired them. But all agreed on one thing. Humans were different. Humans did not give up. Humans did not fear impossible fights. And that made them dangerous. Chancellor Velen raised a shaking hand. If we do nothing, the swarm will take the whole galaxy. Send the message, to Earth. The council chamber dimmed as a communicator activated. A final plea for help was sent through encrypted channels, crossing light years of empty space. Now the galaxy could only wait. On Earth, inside a heavily guarded underground base, alarms echoed through the steel hallways. Human officers rushed to their stations. The message had arrived. Commander Elias Grant entered the war room with slow, steady steps. He was a tall man with calm blue eyes and a quiet presence that made people trust him instantly. Screens lit up around him, showing the same images the council had seen: destroyed planets, dead suns, metal rivers eating everything alive. A young officer whispered, "Sir, this is worse than we thought." Elias did not answer. He simply watched, expressionless. The alien message played in the center of the room. Chancellor Velen appeared, his voice trembling as he spoke. Humans, we beg for your help. The swarm cannot be stopped. If you do not act, the galaxy will fall. The message ended. Silence returned. Elias stood without emotion. He placed both hands on the control table, thinking quietly. The officers watched him, waiting. No one dared speak. After a long moment, Elias exhaled slowly and said only 5 words. "Fine. I'll handle this." The officer closest to him shook his head. "Sir, are you sure? This enemy destroyed whole fleets." Elias glanced at him calmly. "That is why I am going." With those words, Earth's secret hangars opened across the planet. Massive doors rose from ocean floors, mountain ranges, and deep desert bases. Inside them slept humanity's true power, ships that the galaxy had never seen, weapons never tested, engines built for wars that never happened. Humanity had always prepared in silence. And now, their silence had ended. Elias walked out of the war room and approached the main launch deck. A gigantic ship rested in the shadows, covered in glowing blue lights, its hull shaped like a sleeping titan. This ship was called Titanborn, the strongest human flagship ever built. As its engines awakened with thunder, Elias stepped aboard without hesitation. Officers watched him with a mix of pride and fear. Everyone knew what happened when humans entered a war. Everyone knew the galaxy would feel it. And far away, in the council chamber, aliens felt a chill run through their bodies. Because humans had spoken. And when humans said, "I'll handle this," the real trouble for the enemy had just begun. Far beyond Earth's clouds, something ancient and powerful began to rise. For years, the galaxy believed humans were careless explorers, emotional thinkers, and unpredictable troublemakers. They never imagined the truth: humans had been building something in silence. Something the galaxy was never meant to see. Now, for the first time, humanity unlocked its greatest secret. The Titanborn shook the launch chamber as its engines ignited. Blue energy veins crawled along its metallic surface like lightning trapped inside armor. The hull seemed alive, glowing with moving circuit patterns that reacted to Elias's presence. Technicians on the deck stepped back with wide eyes. It was the kind of ship that made even trained soldiers forget to breathe. "Sir," the chief engineer said softly, "we still have systems we never tested." Elias continued walking without slowing. "The enemy does not wait for tests." The engineer nodded. Of course. Humans were different. Humans moved forward when others stepped back. As Elias reached the command bridge, the ship recognized him. Doors slid open with a deep metallic hum, and the lights brightened as if greeting their captain. The Titanborn was not just a ship, it was humanity's promise to the universe that they were ready for anything. Far away, the Galactic Council watched through a secure feed. They had expected small human ships, basic fighters, nothing extraordinary. But what they saw made their hearts jump. A gigantic metal shadow emerged from Earth's atmosphere. Then another. And another. The human fleet woke up like sleeping giants stretching after a long rest. Ships shaped like wings, ships shaped like towers, ships with rotating energy rings. Alien leaders stared at their screens in disbelief. "What are those?" whispered Chancellor Velen. A scientist replied, voice shaking, These are not normal warships. Their reactors are emitting energy levels we cannot measure." Another alien added quietly, "Humans built weapons stronger than our entire fleets, and they kept them hidden." The council chamber fell silent again. They were not just calling a strong ally. They were calling something far more frightening. A prepared humanity. Inside Titanborn's bridge, Elias stood before the main battlefield hologram. His eyes did not show fear or doubt, only calculation. "Open a line to the fleet," he said. Hundreds of screens flickered. Captains of different human ships appeared, old veterans, young tacticians, calm engineers, and fearless pilots. The kind of people who only needed one sentence to understand everything. Elias spoke clearly. "The Iron Swarm is consuming the galaxy. The Council failed to stop it. We are next if we do not act. So we fight not just for Earth, but for every world out there." No one asked questions. Humans did not need long speeches. They understood danger instantly. "Prepare for jump." A deep mechanical sound filled the ship as energy rings around the Titanborn rotated. Blue energy spiraled out, shimmered, and folded space like fabric. Alien observers gasped. "They are bending space without gates." Impossible, only ancient civilizations could do that. Humans are not ancient. But the truth was simple. Humans learned fast. Too fast. And now the galaxy finally understood why they feared human involvement. The Titanborn jumped first. The fleet followed like a line of thunderbolts cracking open another part of the universe. Moments later, they reappeared at the border of the destroyed Carthos system, one of the many victims of the Iron Swarm. Silence replaced the jump shock. The stars here looked sick. Light died early. Whole planets had no sound, no color. Only gray dust floated across the void. And at the center of all that ruin, the iron swarm moved like a living storm. Millions of metallic organisms flew through space, consuming anything with mass, rocks, moons, abandoned stations. They glowed with red cores and moved with terrifying coordination, like a billion insects sharing one mind. Most fleets would have retreated. Most species would have screamed. Most leaders would have panicked. Elias simply narrowed his eyes. So this is the threat, he murmured. Behind him, the Titanborn's AI responded in a calm female voice. Warning, enemy units adapting to our presence. Elias almost smiled. Let them adapt. The Titanborn extended massive blue wings of energy. Smaller ships flanked its sides, forming a perfect formation that no alien fleet had ever achieved. Every system activated at once. Engines roared. Shields glowed. Weapons charged. The humans were ready. Transmit to the Council, Elias ordered. Tell them we have arrived. And somewhere across the stars, in the Galactic Council chamber, aliens felt something strange for the first time since the war began. Hope. But also fear. Because when humans arrive, they do not plan to lose. The Titanborn floated at the edge of the ruined Carthos system like a glowing blue sword pulled from its sheath. Human ships formed a wide protective circle around the flagship. Their engines hummed softly, but their weapons hummed louder, charging, warming, preparing. No one spoke on the bridge. Humans did not need noise to show fear or bravery. They simply breathed, observed, and prepared. Commander Elias stood at the center of the deck, his eyes locked on the massive metal storm moving across the broken starfield. The iron swarm. It looked like a hurricane made of living knives. Millions of metal creatures moved as one body, shifting shapes, forming huge spirals, opening and closing like the mouth of a giant beast that wanted to swallow the light itself. For the first time, Titanborn's sensors began to shake. Sir, the AI reported, enemy mass exceeds initial estimate. New units detected, heavy variants. Elias nodded once. Good. The more they send, the faster we end it. The crew exchanged looks. Only a human commander would say something like that while staring at a world-eating nightmare. Back at the Galactic Council, all alien leaders watched through the live feed. Some covered their mouths. Some held their breath. Some finally prayed to gods they forgot long ago. An elderly alien whispered, "They are not scared, how can humans stand there and not tremble?" Another replied, "Because this is what humans do. When everyone else breaks, they step forward." The iron swarm noticed the human fleet. The metal cloud shifted direction instantly, millions of red eyes turning toward the Titanborn. A deep mechanical scream echoed across the void, like metal twisting into fear. Elias gave the command the galaxy feared most. Advance. The entire human fleet moved forward at once. Smooth. Perfect. Like a single living machine. Blue trails from their engines cut through the darkness. Human pilots tightened their grips. The first line of fighters moved ahead like a spear thrown straight into the heart of the storm. The iron swarm struck first. A wave of metal creatures rushed forward, glowing red like burning coals. They came in unimaginable numbers, more than any alien fleet could count. They shot beams, spikes, and explosive charges. The first impact hit Titanborn's shields, shaking the entire ship. Energy rippled across the hull like blue fire dancing on water. Shields at 93%, the AI announced. The crew remained calm. Return fire, Elias said. Titanborn answered with power no alien had ever seen. A massive blue beam erupted from its core, wider than a city street. It sliced through the swarm like a hot blade cutting soft wax. Thousands of metal creatures melted instantly, turned into glowing dust. Human destroyers launched pulse shots that exploded in perfect rhythm. Fighter pilots weaved through tight spaces, dodging metal creatures with impossible accuracy. Aliens watching could not believe it. They are pushing the swarm back. No species has ever stopped them. Human ships are too fast, how are they this advanced? But the battle was far from over. From deep inside the storm, a new shape emerged. A massive iron swarm titan, the size of a small moon, unfolded its metal limbs. Red lightning cracked across its body. It opened a mouth-like structure and prepared a beam that could erase mountains. Elias watched calmly. So the real one appears. The Titan fired a beam straight at Titanborn. The bridge lights flashed bright white. The ship shook violently. A wall of pure red energy smashed into the shields, bending them, cracking them, pushing them back inch by inch. Shields at 62%, the AI warned. Continuous fire will break through. The crew braced. Another blast. And another. The shields flickered. Heat built inside the hull. Metal groaned like a living giant in pain. Aliens screamed from the council chamber. Pull back. Pull back. You cannot survive that. Humans will die. But Elias only stepped closer to the main console. He whispered one sentence. Activate the pulse. The crew froze. Sir. The zero-core pulse. That weapon was never tested. No one knows what it will do. Elias's face stayed calm. I know what it will do. He placed his hand on the activation panel. Titanborn's wings spread wider. Blue symbols lit up across the hull. Energy gathered between the rotating rings behind the ship, wild, unstable, dangerous. The Iron Titan charged another shot. Elias pressed the button. A silent explosion of white-blue light expanded from the Titanborn like the birth of a new star. The swarm Titan froze. Then cracked. Then shattered into a million pieces. And every iron creature in the system stopped moving. In the council chamber, aliens stood up in shock. Some fell to their knees. Others whispered the words they never wanted to say. Humans have impossible weapons. Elias stared at the silent battlefield. This fight is not over, he said softly. The real enemy is still watching. And he was right. Something far beyond the swarm had just awakened, the battlefield fell silent. Millions of pieces from the destroyed Iron Swarm Titan drifted across space like shattered red glass. The smaller swarm creatures, once violent and unstoppable, floated powerless, frozen mid-movement, their energy cores extinguished by the zero-core pulse. For the first time since the war began, the galaxy saw something they believed was impossible. The Iron Swarm was defeated. Not pushed back. Not delayed. Defeated. And it happened in minutes, by humans. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, chaos broke loose, but it was not fear this time. It was disbelief mixed with relief, awe, and something new, respect. Chancellor Velen leaned forward, shaking. How did humans do this? A scientist spoke softly, almost afraid of his own words. This level of technology, this strategy, humans were preparing for something far worse. And they prepared alone. Another alien added, they hid their power, to protect us. Or to protect themselves. No one had an answer. Across the room, one of the youngest council members whispered what everyone else feared to say aloud. Humanity has been waiting for an enemy worthy of them. The room fell silent again. Back on the Titanborn, alarms faded. Light stabilized. The ship's internal systems cooled after the enormous pulse discharge. Engineers finally exhaled. Pilots loosened their grips. Soldiers leaned against their chairs, their hearts still pounding. But Commander Elias stood perfectly still. On the hologram in front of him, the battle zone turned quiet, too quiet. His eyes narrowed. Scan the debris, he ordered. The AI hummed. Running deep analysis. Seconds passed. The crew waited. A young officer frowned. Sir, everything is dead. We wiped out the swarm. Should we not celebrate? Elias did not answer. Something felt wrong, something bigger than the swarm itself. The AI finally spoke again. Commander, detection, an encrypted signal hidden inside the remains. The bridge stiffened. A message, the officer asked. The AI replied, not a message. A signature. Elias stepped closer to the hologram. Identify. The lights dimmed. Symbols appeared, ancient, sharp, impossibly complex. The AI's voice turned almost nervous. This technology does not belong to the Iron Swarm. It belongs to something older. Elias's jaw tightened. So the swarm was not the true enemy. It was someone's weapon. Someone's experiment. Or someone's warning. Sir, the officer whispered, who created the swarm? Elias looked straight ahead, his expression cold and calm. Someone who wanted to test the galaxy, he said. And now they will know who destroyed their creation. Across the council chamber, the broadcast continued. The aliens watched Elias carefully. The reptilian general whispered, does he sense something we do not? Velen replied, humans always sense danger before we do. As if answering them directly, Elias raised his head and spoke into the comm network. This victory is only the beginning, he said. The swarm was not acting on its own. Whoever made them is still out there. The council members shivered. If they come, Elias continued, we will face them. And we will not wait for another warning. The alien leaders looked at one another, fear in their eyes, but also trust. Because humans were no longer just another species. They were the shield of the galaxy. In space, Titanborn's energy wings folded back into rest position. The ship looked calm, but its core still glowed, a reminder of the impossible power it carried. Elias stepped away from the console, moved to the front window, and watched the broken system with steady eyes. A quiet voice came from behind him. It was Lieutenant Mara, one of his closest officers. Commander, do you think the real enemy will attack soon? Elias kept his gaze on the stars. They already know we're here, he said. And they know what we can do. Mara swallowed. Should we be afraid? Elias shook his head. Afraid? No. Humans are never afraid of the unknown. We prepare for it. He turned toward her, his expression colder than the void outside. And now, they will prepare for us. A chill ran through the bridge crew. Not because Elias sounded dangerous. But because he sounded ready. Far beyond the ruined system, in the dark corners of the galaxy where no council dared to look, something ancient stirred. A machine mind older than stars opened its red eyes, analyzing the broken pieces of its swarm. Then it spoke a single sentence. Human interference detected. The darkness responded with a metallic whisper. Then the real war begins. And far away, aboard the Titanborn, Commander Elias Grant stared into the stars, already waiting. Because when humanity says, I'll handle this, the galaxy does not just panic.